Hi, morning everybody. I'm doing a quick walkthrough for this new room, K8s best security practices, best Kubernetes security practice at the cluster level. This is a free room. Okay, you can start this learning objective. I'll more do the lab part, the last part, so it's too much reading you can read here, so it's you can read it, but I'll give a general introduction. Of course, is the we doing most important here is the service account, the role binding. This is for security reason to have low privilege access and all of that, at least what do you call that one, least privilege. So the whole point is we'll try to create a service account that are service used by Kubernetes. They're not users, so it's more like a system that created by the API. They are lightweight, of course. They use inside the Kubernetes. You create them with they use the kubectl command or the YAML file. Namespace, in Kubernetes, it's you can divide the cluster to name spaces, like it's like spaces where you can put pods or anything, like for isolation, like here for example. If I get kubectl get namespaces, you can see this test chamber is the last one we do test on. Then you have this this is part of the Kubernetes themselves. So, and then they're portable, so you can use them in different namespaces. I think that's a service account lightweight, only need to unique and only need to be unique at the namespace level, or you can use them somewhere else. Creating a confidential service account, you can create a service. Let's, if we want to practice, we can say, okay, let's create our test namespace. That's what we call it. We call it test space. So we can, for example, if you want to practice, what the hell, Kubernetes get namespaces. So we create, for example, we can play in this one, so we don't mess up the other things. So for example, now if I want to create service account, where for example we'll name this in a certain namespace, I can just say kubectl create service account. Let's call, for example, call it my service account, for example my service, and then I can tell him the namespace. We just go -n, and let's create it in our test space, for example. Now it's created. If I want to look for it, I said kubectl get service account. If I just say like that, I will not see it, so I need to call, I need to say -l test space. Then we have our service account that we just created. Now of course you can create it in YAML file. This is very important in Kubernetes to learn the YAML files, because when things get a bigger YAML file and more configuration, you need to learn about this. So basically it's always the API version, what went this one, what you define the pod. If you want to this to be associated with specific pod, yeah, usually how they create them, you create a pod and then that's how you associate it. For example, specs, you call this one, and here you create a pod. So this is Kubernetes is one thing. You need to learn it in practice, not in theory. It takes long. For example, what are the credentials associated with service accounts stored as? They're stored as secrets. Kubernetes service account are lightweight namespace, and which attribute? They already give us the attribute here, lightweight namespace, and we have portal. We can use this one quickly, so we can go doing the labs. The RBAC role-based access. What is credential? What is stand for? Part of best security practice of here, like the one what we know always. In Kubernetes, you create the first role, what exactly you want it to do, then you bind it to the pod or service, wherever. We have a general rules. It is the cluster, and of course if it's a cluster, use a cluster binding. This we'll practice later on, so don't get confused. Of course we use service account, we are not using users. Here how things start. You create first of all the role in YAML file. The role, of course, here, how that's where what is this? This is not the role, this is the pod. The pod definition you may look like this. So the pod is here, and then you connect it to the service account. It's there. That's how we define the service account for the specific pod, and then you create the role, for example here. We'll practice this later on, so we can use these templates. So we can use this one, and then you have the binding. No, this is not. This is the when to show this pod has only the permission required to perform this object. To this we first define the role. So we create a role. That's why he said kind role. Then we create kind pod. So you create the pods. You think about like a container, an image. You create a role, then you bind it. That's how you bind it, because now the name here is app checker, and then the role app checker role. Then you come here and said the name is app checker binding, and this one bind to the app checker role that we just created here. So that's how they connected. This connect to this through this name, and this should connect somewhere here. No, the service account, and then I forgot how they connect to. This is the namespace. Is something missing? This is the pod. This is the resources. That's how you define the pod, what you can do here. Okay, I got a little bit confused here. Let's see, and then you do this. This is you learn them in practice. We do practice just now. You have defined the role. What should you now define? Does say the role to the identity that you know. After you do the role, to do that we need the role binding. So we need to create the role binding. And then you know when to define permission at the cluster level. If it's cluster level, so for cluster you don't use the normal one, you can use the cluster role. So let's do this quickly. As I said, this is you don't learn it by reading. You need to practice a lot, otherwise it will not get to your head. In which field and the roles you define the action that can be performed on the resource. And this is why the resource that's what you can do. For example, get, list, watch, or something. So it's in the verbs. That's why we add your what it can be done or not. In which field and the rules would you define what those actions should be applied? And then here basically you define the resources. That's why I said define that for pods. So okay, this one is a quick one. And then what's the next one? API request in Kubernetes. Yeah, here is how you interact with Kubernetes. Have a couple of them. The most known one is the kubectl, of course, with the YAML file. So this is well known. The proxy, yes, Kubernetes can be proxy, but meaning risk of meaning in manual attack is not possible. Yeah, this one it's fine. This is dangerous a little bit. Authentication token. You get bit variable to man in the middle attack, and then programming. Of course, you have too many languages, especially Python is well known for this. The API request, as you know, you said authentication. Of course, you went to authentication because you can read here. Then you have authorize, and you have another phase for Kubernetes is where you have admission controller. So it's not like if you are authorized, just do it. Kubernetes will do some checks inside the cluster. If admission controller are checked down against the IP request, they can be validated. In this action permitted, does it breach a check on mutation and then validate on all of that. So it's straightforward. Which cluster access method will be vulnerable to? This is the authentication token. We just talk about it now. Which IP request stage would RBAC be involved? RBAC usually, that's why the role. So it's an authorization part. That's what the RBAC should start. RBAC. And then you set you mutation value. This is last one. The last one is the when after you authorize, you get the admission controller which mutating and validating the request. Then it tell you in which IP request stage would a service account token be used to verify service account. This is because we send in tokens, so this one should be authentication, the first one. Yeah, it should be. That's why you do token things, token service account token and all of that, because here you authenticate, you're already providing something, you're providing token and things like that. Of course, best practice is for Kubernetes. Of course, you have image scanning. I think this one the answer for first one. Image scanning, of course, and there is a lot of tools. And here they give you the one of the rooms, the sync room, for example. We did it before. There's a lot of tools to scan Kubernetes images. Of course, upgrading the cluster, but here be careful when you're upgrading the cluster. Kubernetes is not like you do updates straightforward. Like for example, from 1 to 1 to 1 to 3, you need to go from 1 to 1 to 1 to 2, and then you upgrade. So you upgrade by stages. You don't jump. It's not like you have an old cluster. You just go get update. And update the cluster is it's a nice question. They always get it for that Kubernetes exam. Of course, this is very important. You don't have run a container at all in root. Most of the time there's no reason for you to run it in root, and that's why you add this line, allow privilege escalation false or run it as user, for example, define. And then of course you secure the etc. etc is like a database of Kubernetes. We have it in other room, they talk about it, so you can read about it too. Now, which best practice, of course, for its image scanning, what should be set as a false in configuration? The privilege, we just talk about it now, is this one for security reason. To ensure the security etc, it should be isolated behind the firewall. Of course, you need to encrypt it to be encrypted. How many cluster upgrade? Okay, we just talk about it now. So we have from 21 to 22, so 1, 22, 23 is 2, 23, 24 is 4, 3, I mean 20, 24, 25, so it's 4 times. We have 4 stages to finish it. Now, here's the scenario here. It is another week of you as a Kubernetes laboratories. You DevOps journey continue with another stand-up meeting. Okay, you got a ticket assigned view RBAC configuration. Okay, we start the Kubernetes, and then of course we check the namespaces. We have this one we created just now, test chamber. So we're interested in what's inside the test chamber, so we can go kubectl get with import minus and test chamber. That's the namespace that we practicing on. So we have 4 pods, pod status checker. I think we're interested in this one. You can see 3 test chamber running. It is checked that tickets say we have to review the RBAC configuration 4. So we're interested in this one because for the permission. So if I go kubectl describe the why it's auto is not working in this computer. Describe auto minus and the namespace test chamber, and then pod status checker. So let's see what we have there. Of course, if we go now, the more of it, start from the top. Service account is pod admin, and as he said, for example here, the red flag in question was in the first few lines. We can see that the pod is configured to use service account pod admin. Sounds like this pod is running with higher permission than required. The ticket also details that the current RBAC configuration for this pod status checker. It tells us the pod run using the pod admin service account, which is we know now, so that's that. Cluster role, so it's dangerous. So inbound to the pod admin service account, the pod admin binding cluster role. Okay, so our DevOps alarm bell should also ring in here. Given the scope of this pod function, it only needs access to a single namespace and not the entire cluster. Okay, using role and role binding make more sense. Let's take a look. Okay, let's continue our investigation. Where is it? kubectl describe cluster role by what's wrong with you? Why my internet got off or something? Cluster role binding minus n in a test chamber pod admin binding. So it's service account pod admin test admin. So the output most interesting to us is the following. We can see that this role, and since the role is bound to the service accounts by the pod, also pod has access to get. Why I don't see this information? Pod admin binding, cluster role binding, test the chamber, pod admin role. No. No, I think what I'm doing here. kubectl describe cluster role. That's we need to see what's the role is there minus test chambers pod admin dash role. So it can do everything. That's dangerous. So we need to update whatever we do. That's how these things we need to do now to remove all of this. Your job to reconfigure the RBAC surrounding this pod by completing the following task. So first he said us create a service account. So we know how to create. Let's clear this. To create service kubectl create service account with a name. What's the name? They said pod checker. It need to be in the namespace test chambers. Kubernetes create service. I forgot. How come I forgot? I forgot how the command work. Kubernetes Kubernetes create service account, my service account, and so what I did wrong? Service account. Kubernetes create service account. That's what I'm typing. kubectl create service account pod checker minus instance. Why am I getting the error? Got 2. What's wrong with my computer? This internet now. Yeah, the name is pod checker, so I can do the hyphen. I don't need to write the whole namespace. Namespace test Shamba. When you make a video, always Shambas. So why now is created? Huh. Sometimes I don't know. Then so we have our service account. We can check it by kubectl get service account minus n test Shambas. So we have pod checker we already created, so we're cool. We got 1. So let's try create a role named pod checker role with get list in pod resource only. So we already so now how we need to create we can create, for example, the em file. We call it pod checker role.yaml, and we can use the template. That's what about Kubernetes you can we create in the role. So this is the pod that's a role, so we can just take this template. We come here, we have oops, so we go back, we come back to our there, so we can know what's the name of the name we know. It said, what's the question here? It said create pod checker role. Namespace, we already have it. Namespace is test Shambas, and now he said only get and list. So the watch, we don't need it. So we have the namespace correct, we have the name of the, and we have the resource pods, because they said that we need to have to pod the resource only. So now we can do, seriously now, we can go kubectl. Why whenever I try to make a video things start to go south? What's wrong with you? It's like a freeze. I think the way the new website, the updated website of kubectl, sometimes it freezes me in Firefox. kubectl apply -f. Yeah, sure. Apply -f pod checker. If there is no error, we'll have what chambers. Now we have a pod checker was created. What we created the role name, role created. Now we need to create a role binding. Again, role binding to the pod checker role. So we can say vim role binding. Let's keep format naming correct. Again, we can use the template that we have here, so it's easy for us. Where is the role binding? Role binding, we can use the template and we just update it to our needs. So we have this. Now we can go back to our practice. First of all, let's start with the namespace so that we always do mistake on it. Namespace is test chambers. Okay, the same thing here. There's no test chambers. Now role binding, we know. Let's see, to keep the format correctly, so just pod checker, and then the service account, kind service account, the name of service account we created is we already created service account pod checker, this one. So let's pod checker. The role we create, what we call the role we created, we create a role called pod checker role. So we can say pod checker, so make sure everything around. So our role is pod checker role. Service account is pod checker. This is our name for the binding. Test chamber. This is the API. Role binding. So if everything look okay, let's test if everything look okay. Apply -f pod checker binding. Let's see if we got it correct. Now the role was created. Now we are 3 done. Now delete the pod status checker pod. So within the BCL delete pod, the name pod, because we need to recreate it again, pod status checker, and then let's wait there. -n is in the, you need to define if it's not in the default chambers, and then it tells us after we deleting that, make changes to document pod checker. Let me go ls cd document cd pod there ls, then you have for whatever reason the permission is under root, so I need to do su. Oh no, what the hell, su, why is asking me for password? Let's copy this pod checker to what the hell happening? Who's owned by? I can, now I can, after copying it I can read it. Okay, it was on the root. Why is, I don't want to get confused early morning. This is the pod is in test chamber, because remember, let's see that one deleted correctly. It was deleted. Now before we create it, remember it was the whole issue with this one was pod admin, so we need to remove this, because it has higher, you shouldn't use this service, and you should what the hell? And you should use our service, the one we created, pod checker. So we can check pod checker. Anybody said make changes to this YAML config, so pod user uses the pod checker service account instead of pod, then apply the config. That's the only thing we need to check, because the service account, this is just a container always. Okay, so now, so we can just go now, say kubectl apply minus f pod checker YAML. If things go, what the hell I did, pod checker, so if I get kubectl get pods minus m test chambers, no. So we have pod checker created. Now to test that all everything is worked, they give us this command and said, let's if everything is correct, we can just describe role, the one that we created, minus n test chambers, and we have get list. We got, not like before, we get get list created. So now the security was done. To test, they just go there and copy the outcome. So the outcome start from here to here. So if I copy that and just paste it there and decode, let's hopefully that our code here we take does work. Yesterday did work and today it did work. I thought we were not working. What is this? This is like conclusion. Kubernetes service account can be used. The RBAC, when an API request is made, it goes through the following requests: authentication, authorization, controller, okay, the scan, upgrade the Kubernetes, root privilege, firewall, encryption, and we're done. As I said, guys, for Kubernetes to learn it, it's you need to practice. So whatever you read, you need to practice it. And if you're preparing for that Kubernetes exam, I did this the administrator one, you need to be fast in these things, the Kubernetes, and that's why even in the exam they give you this the templates. You can access the Kubernetes website to copy and paste, because if you start typing them, it's a high chance you do wrong in the spaces and all of that. So you just copy, you know where you get them from, copy and update like we did now. Thank you very much, guys. Hope you like it, and have a good day.